Hello everyone, welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout. My name is Az and I'm joined by Sam. Bright and early Sam, 9:30, how you feeling?
Yeah, good. FPL show late last night.
Yep. Pod this morning as well, I believe.
Official podcast this morning, yeah, that'll be out this afternoon. I am a little bit tired this morning. I've had about 3 hours sleep.
No, well, you'll be fine. Before we start, I just want to talk about some of the great shouts you made on the last one of these Q&A streams. Bench Vardy, Sam says. Blanks. Get Bernardo Silva over Gundogan, Sam says. Tick. What's your one?
Pookie,
of course. Oh,
Hooray!
God, how could I forget? Of course, it's Pookie. So I absolutely nailed it on the last one. Let's see we'll see if we can do the same.
There's a lot of pressure now, isn't
Yeah,
there?
there is. Yeah, it's like we're actually good at this at the moment, but that can all quickly turn around. Hi to everyone in the chat. Great to see so many of you here already. If you're listening to this later on or on the podcast version, get involved when these go live. I post on Scout, on Twitter, everything, what times. It'll be on sort of the day before the deadline or the day of the deadline normally. And yeah, it's really fun to get involved in the chat, and we'll be taking your questions kind of live as we go. So already getting some questions in, which is great. Just before we get into them, I just want to talk about SoRare. So Fantasy Football Scout are partnered with SoRare this season. In particular, we're really sort of working with the SoRare Academy, which is a free version of SoRare and a great sort of entry point into it if you're interested in the game. If you don't know what SoRare is, there's an intro video on Scout which explains some of the rules, but essentially it's a bit like picking a five-a-side team, and those players score points, and if they score points and you sort of enter into the upper echelons of the game, you win real cards to add to your SoRare collection, which is what SoRare is all about, building cards on the blockchain which are kind of unique to you, and those cards are worth actual money and you can buy and trade and sell and all that kind of stuff. So if you like things like FIFA Ultimate Team, if you like Fantasy 5 for example, it's kind of a combination of all these different things in one game. So yeah, the SoRare Academy, I'm playing it each week. It's a lot of fun, and SoRare is growing. They're adding more cards, more teams, more players into it, so definitely check that out. Right, Q&A. Let's go straight into the chat. Moshe Asarov, I think Az has stopped drinking beer. Well, you'd hope so at 9:30 in the morning, wouldn't you?
You've been drinking beer this morning?
I didn't. No, of course not.
What are you drinking? Tea? Coffee?
I'm actually drinking a Lemsip. I know.
Not ill again, are you?
I didn't want to mention it because I knew you'd say that.
You're always ill.
You'll know about this. I went to, one of those really fun places because my friend's got a 5-year-old. Went to one of those, like, it's got like trampolining and a ball pit and all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And as soon as I walked in and I just saw all these kids, I was like, yep, I'm getting ill. It was like,
not as bad as it used to be,
like
honestly.
3 birthday parties going on, and there's like kids just wiping their nose with snot and running around. And
used to be way worse pre-COVID when they didn't clean them very regularly.
Yeah, I think all the antibacterial gel in the world wouldn't have stopped me getting ill. I'm not too bad. I'm just a little bit. My throat's a little bit, funny. So anyway, it's fine. James A, maybe Lee's right. Lee being right? Already I'm sceptical. Kane will go to Man City in January. What do you think about that?
He's never right.
That was my first thought. Sorry, Lee.
Is he in? He's probably in. I don't think he will go in January. Why on earth would they pay 100 million for a striker that's
got one
so
goal,
woefully out of form?
I think he's blown it. I think he's blown it.
I don't think he's going now. And also, I think he's quite enjoying working with Conte from, what's being said there. So I don't think he's going now. Maybe it'll come up again in the summer, but not now.
No, they're not going to pay 100 million for him in January, surely. And they've got systems that are working without him. I think Luke posted last night on Twitter saying, you look at the number 9s in the league at the moment, like you look at Aubameyang and, Vardy's kind of the only... Ronaldo's got his critics, but... you look at Vardy, you look at Kane, you look at Aubameyang. These guys are not Vardy, but the number 9s essentially aren't doing very well. That's my point I'm trying to make in a really long-winded way. And more teams are playing with these false 9s. Firmino, Havertz has been doing well for Chelsea, and yeah, I don't think it's as big a problem for City as a lot of people thought it would be.
No.
But yeah, we'll see. Let's carry on. Albin, are they going live? Yes, we are live. Hello, Albin. Here's a good one. VU 1999 UK. Is Dennis worth buying now, even with Man City next? Dennis King?
Yeah.
Thoughts?
Yeah. because you can bench him for Manchester City, and then the fixtures after that are nice. So they've got a few fixtures. The only thing to watch with Dennis, of course, is that there's potential that he might go to the African Cup of Nations in January. So just need to think about that when you're looking at your team as to how many you've got that will potentially be going. And if you go with Dennis, then I think it's just leaving some money available so that you can upgrade him in January if he gets called up.
I think at the moment he's not getting called up.
Well, he hasn't played for Nigeria for a while, no. So there's a chance he doesn't go, but he is in really good form.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? If he carries on the way he's playing, it's going to be hard not to call him up.
Exactly. So I just think if you do go there with Dennis, just leave a little bit of money in the bank just in case you need to upgrade him, or be prepared to sell your other players and leave him as your third sub.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you've got the extra 0.3, you just get King. Right?
Yeah.
King's got the second best underlying stats over the last 6 game weeks on penalties. No danger of going off to the African Cup of Nations. He doesn't get shifted out wide as much as someone like Dennis does. He's always.
Ranieri loves him as well.
Yeah, he does. I really like King. I'm looking at getting King. So I've got Tony, right? And Tony's doing my head in.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, I mean, I've got Hwang, and I'm looking for definitely to make a move to one of the Watford boys this week. That will be my transfer, and I was kind of quite keen on Dennis, but I'm also, if you remember back to when we were at Fest in the summer, I had Josh King in all of my pre-season teams because I was absolutely convinced that he was going to be good for Watford this season. And then he had that niggly injury that kept him out at the beginning, which meant I ended up going, who did I have? Oh, I had Deeney instead, because I was like, well, if Josh King's not playing, maybe Deeney will start. But now I am very keen to go back to Josh King. I'm just kind of pondering on how much money do I want to save, because I've got Hwang to sell, so I could go Hwang to King just like for like because they're the same price now, because Hwang annoyingly dropped last night. But Dennis would obviously save me a bit of money, which might come in handy.
I mean, look at El Fozzy, Chris in at Scout. I mean, he's got Dennis, benches him every week. Every week he gets points.
He returns, yeah. And obviously Josh King's got penalties in his locker, which is something that Dennis doesn't have. So I know we're not seeing a huge amount of penalties this season, but it's just another route to points, which you should consider when making these decisions. Yep,
absolutely. Nick says Kane's looking better. Wouldn't sell him before Norwich.
No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah, he looked. He's still
better.
He still looks ponderous. He looks slow and slow. I mean, he's always looked a bit like that, but he had the 1-on-1, didn't he? Yesterday.
But he is better.
But he is I think that's the better. Thing. Is he 12.2 better?
No, of course not. No, absolutely not. But better. And has been better for the last 3 game weeks, I'd say. Every week I've watched him and thought, actually, you look a bit better. And for each of the last 3 game weeks, I've been like, well, there's been an opportunity. There was the one off the post against Leeds. There was the 1-on-1 last night. There's been a few opportunities where I've gone, you really should have returned points. And I wonder with him now whether it's a bit of a confidence thing and whether once he gets one, the commentator last night on the game was saying he looks like a player that's just trying a bit too hard to return, like he's overthinking it. And one of the things that makes Kane so brilliant, particularly for England, is that he doesn't think about what he's doing. He just does it, and it's just a natural thing for him to end up doing in those positions, and he scores goals from it. And that's what we saw with Kane and Son last season, is there was no real overthinking. They were just making passes. They knew each other were going to be there. Whereas at the moment, I feel like they're still thinking about what they're doing. And we saw a little bit last night where Kane played the ball through to Reguilon, and Reguilon then passed it to Son for his goal. That was the Spurs team that doesn't think about what they're doing and they just do it. If Kane can get one, I suspect we might see a bit of a confidence boost, and then it might allow him to just.
He's a funny player, Kane, because you talk about confidence. I mean, he's a quite a selfless player in a lot of regards. Like, he's happy to spray balls from the halfway line. He drops deep, and a lot of people get annoyed with that. But he likes setting people up. He got the most assists last season, all this kind of stuff. But also, he's got an ego on him as well.
Yeah.
Like you look at the interviews he does from his house, and he's got all pictures of himself holding golden boots and all framed shirts and stuff. So the records and stuff obviously mean something to him. I've got no doubt that this spell he's not happy. Even if he's not that happy at Spurs, the fact he's got 1 goal this season.
He'll be annoyed with himself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not just about Spurs. And that's a lot of the rhetoric that I'm hearing at the moment is, he just wants to go to City. Of course, there's an element of that. But that, to me, that element was in August and in September. Right now, this is I'm annoyed with myself and I'm frustrated with myself that I'm not performing. Because actually, he is a far better player than We saw that when he was away with England, right? I know the games were easy, but he was performing for them. And so there is definitely an element of frustration from him personally. He won't be happy. And as much as he and Son are obviously teammates and good friends, there's also that slight rivalry between them in terms of, goals and assists and that. And when you're being significantly beaten, I mean, Reguilon is on better form. Højbjerg's on better form.
I know.
So, when you look at that, he must be sitting in the dressing room thinking, I really need to up my game. And we've started to see it. But hopefully, I just don't think you can sell Harry Kane ahead of Norwich.
Well, that's what Philip Norris says in the chat. He says, of course...
You've got to give him Norwich.
Of course, Kane looks better. He set the bar so low.
That's true.
I'm still holding for Norwich, though.
Have to.
Big Tip said, had enough of him. He's a deep-lying midfielder. Yeah, I agree with that. And Big Tip also says Kane's drop-off is unrivaled. And it is really... I mean, you look at last season, you look at some of the players who like, it was Shaw's redemption, it was Stone's redemption. We saw some players coming back into it, which we'd otherwise written off. And it's the complete opposite with Kane. I never, ever expected this. Even with him, of all the things in the summer, if you told me Kane would have 1 goal and 1 assist after 14 game weeks, I would never have thought that could have happened.
No.
Crazy.
But equally, don't you think that if he gets 1, when he finds his form, which he will, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that Kane will find form at some point this season. He is not going to go the whole season getting 1 goal in 14 game weeks. I just can't see, with the level of player that he is and going into a World Cup year.
He will improve. It's just when. And I got on him, last week thinking, with Burnley, okay, it wasn't his fault. He couldn't get on form against Burnley since the game got called off. But I was expecting something last night against Brentford, but it was encouraging. But I don't want encouraging. I want points.
I think you give Norwich, and then you see where you are, because obviously there's a couple of other players that you could go to in that position in the same sort of area of price in terms of obviously Ronaldo, but also Lukaku if he's coming back. So for me, neither of those are ones that I want to necessarily jump on straight away, because I want to just give Manchester United 1 more game. Yes, we saw a good game last night from them, and it's been good under Carrot, but it's new manager bounce stuff now coming in. So I'm going to watch how they play at the weekend. And I'm also going to see what Chelsea do against West Ham and how many minutes Lukaku gets. See what Spurs do on Sunday, and then make some calls about Harry Kane. Yep.
Right, that's Kane done. Kane
no more.
No more Kane. Vishal says, one of my favourite streams. Excuse me.
And that's why it's his favourite stream.
Stream, you see. Stream cold. It all links together. We've had a super chat. Bailey A. Best 1 week punt striker for 8 million. That's a good question. There's a couple, I think. Any that spring to mind for you?
I'd go Ollie Watkins.
I would also go Ollie Watkins or Wilson. That'd be my 2.
The thing is with Wilson is that I think it would be a 1 week punt, whereas with Ollie Watkins, you could feasibly hold him. Like the fixtures are okay. They're a bit mixed, but they're okay.
I assume he's wildcarding, because if you're asking for a 1 week punt, you're obviously doing something next week. So I think it must be for this week, and then probably, when United's fixtures turn, maybe going for the double United attack or something.
Leicester have the 3rd worst expected goals conceded in the last 3 game weeks. 2nd worst. Only Newcastle have worse.
I like Watkins, like
I
liked him last season. Ings coming in kind of made him a less attractive an option, but with Ings out and Gerrard playing an attacking brand of football, I think Watkins is a good shout. I think he's the one that I'd go for. I mean, Wilson's got the better game with Burnley, but on paper, but I fancy Watkins in that match.
I do too, and even when Ings does come back, we didn't see Watkins playing any further out. They were playing together in the middle. I really like Watkins, and I think Steven Gerrard is a great manager for him. He's going to shore up the defence. That shoring up the defence and that the use of the likes of Target and Cash down the wings, I think that can only benefit Ollie Watkins. Like, he is a player that I'm seriously looking at as an incoming.
Yeah.
Antonio's position is up for debate massively. So
I'm sure we're gonna have some talk about Antonio. We'll come on to him in a sec, because he's. Yeah, if you're looking for someone under 8, I wouldn't be getting Antonio at the moment. Michael Richardson, Sarr out for who? Sarr as in Wolves' Sarr. So a goalkeeper around 5 mil. Still Ramsdale? I think
probably.
So. I think so. I mean, if the fixtures are good for Arsenal, Everton, Southampton, West Ham, Leeds, Norwich, Wolves. There's clean sheets in that. He's making loads of saves. He made 5 saves again last night against Man U. he's getting points when they concede 3 goals and he's still getting 3 points. 5 saves is good. I mean, 7 saves. I mean, 7 saves against United. 5 against Newcastle, 5 against Liverpool, 8 against Leicester. Like he's a goalkeeper who, particularly at home, Arsenal keeping clean sheets. He's making loads of saves, getting bonus, doing everything you want really.
There's nothing not to like about Ramsdale right now. I just think if you're making a keeper transfer, then you go Ramsdale.
Yep, I agree. That's a nice, easy one. Thank you, Michael. Some people saying De Gea.
Yeah, maybe. Again, I don't know. I think I would want to see them actually keep a clean sheet properly and be good defensively. Because whilst that, I think the attacking players could be really good over the next few weeks, I'm still not convinced, even with the lovely fixtures that Manchester United have.
They've kept 2 clean sheets all season.
Yeah, United. And I still think that Ramsdale is a better option, even with the slightly more mixed fixtures that he has in comparison to Manchester United. Like Manchester United have the fixtures for clean sheets after clean sheets, but I'm not convinced.
No, we'll have to see what happens, with the new manager coming in, whether this, everyone's expecting this kind of like high pressing style. I think it's going to take a while for that to come into effect. And if it isn't quite right, if they don't press enough and the teams are just going to get round them. Also, it's injuries as well. I mean, Dalot played. I mean, when Dalot's lining up, they're getting real bare bones, aren't they? Yeah. And as long as Fred's in that team, I don't bank on them keeping clean sheets. I mean,
he tried to injure the keeper last night.
I know, it's a new one, isn't it? That goal.
I've never known that.
Have you ever seen a goal? It was because it was my Smith Rowe, my boy, who scored it.
Yeah, and I've got him too. I was delighted.
And he scored it. I didn't even celebrate because I was like, oh, De Gea's down. The referee's blown his whistle. Blah blah blah. And then when they showed the replay, and it was Fred. Like I was just like, they can't disallow that. Like that's not. There's no. What would you disallow it for? There's no foul. There's like.
You can't foul your own player and get a foul. Like what are they going to do? What are they doing? Giving you a. Yeah, it had to be a goal in my opinion. I
just can't imagine being a professional footballer and being in goal and going down like that. And it probably hurt, but enough to lying on the ground for like 30 seconds while the play's still going on. It was absolutely.
Well, I think he probably
bizarre.
Just assumed that he was going to get a free kick from
it.
He did. When it's your own player that's doing it, you've got to get up. I mean, my little boy's a goalkeeper and we spend our lives shouting at him, get up, second save. Like, I felt like shouting at De Gea last night.
Very, very strange. Eddie Casey says, I thought Dalot played well. Yeah, to be fair, he wasn't bad. I just meant because
the point is, it's just not full strength.
I just meant he's been so like out of favour. I think he's actually quite a good player. I'm surprised he hasn't had more minutes. But it's like when you're getting into like the Phil Jones and Dalot territory in your starting lineup, you've got some issues. Ivan Albert, thank you for the super chat. Play Smith Rowe or Alonso this week. So Smith Rowe, my boy, has got Everton away and Chelsea have got West Ham away. Close one. Stats would suggest Alonso. Bearing in mind Smith Rowe's stats are awful. But I do fancy West Ham to score in that.
And Chelsea were pretty bad against Watford, particularly in that up until the medical incident. Watford were by far and away the better side. Yeah. And actually, the medical incident probably did Chelsea a bit of a favour because it gave Tuchel a chance to go, what on earth are you all doing? And I guess that's the problem, isn't it? With, they lost Chilwell, so they were already playing Alonso. They'd then lost Reece James for that. There was a lot of changes in that back line. And when you make that many changes to your defence, which also then affects the system in the way that you're playing, the inevitability is that you concede. Now, against a West Ham team that they've been on really poor form the last 3 game weeks, they've suddenly really dropped off a cliff, West Ham, but they've still got really talented players in there, the likes of Fornals that is still playing really well, and Bowen maybe as well. Could I see them scoring West Ham? Yeah, I think I could. And therefore you're relying on, it's 2 players, who's going to get more attacking returns than the other one? And against, I think Smith Rowe has the better fixture for attacking returns than Alonso does.
Interesting. So you go Smith Rowe.
So I would go Smith Rowe.
Interesting. I think I'd go Alonso because I don't see West Ham scoring as a problem for Alonso. Even if you take away the potential clean sheet, I think Alonso offers more attacking wise than Smith Rowe does. I know the fixture's better, but Alonso's going to get a haul in the next couple of weeks. He's so ridiculously attacking. He's just a winger. His stats.
I mean, he assisted the assist twice.
He did,
didn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Smith Rowe is getting lucky, very lucky. I mean, lucky he doesn't even come into the goal he scored
Last
yesterday.
night.
But generally speaking, his stats indicate he's massively overperforming, whereas Alonso's are kind of more in keeping with what he got. I wouldn't feel comfortable benching Alonso.
There's no one else you could bench other than those two, because they seem like two you both want to play. It's a tough decision because I would play them both, is the reality.
That's helpful, isn't it? Well, Sam says play Smith Rowe. I say bench Alonso if you can play them.
Well,
both.
I always just err on the side of the attacker. If in doubt, play the attacker is always my kind of.
I guess I see Alonso. I see Alonso as an attacker.
Yeah, which is true.
Yeah,
it's a hard one. It's a really difficult one. That
it's a tricky one. Right, let's grab some more. This is the tricky part now because a lot of these questions have already answered. So I don't want to carry on. Stop talking about. We've done Kane. No more Kane talks. James Matulovic says, "Is it worth picking up any City mids?" Feeling very hesitant. Yeah, I mean this is an interesting one because obviously Foden and Grealish were back on the bench. Foden's been sold by the masses. Gundogan wasn't in the squad at all, who was quite heavily backed, not by us. We said Bernardo Silva, who scored, which was great. So. City mids, what's your feeling about them? Are you going to be getting any in for the run they've got? It's an amazing, sea of fixtures, but that comes with its own set of problems with City.
I bought in Bernardo Silva last week on the back of what we said.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
You actually backed yourself.
Backed myself for a change. I actually backed myself. So normally, and I came on here and I say things every week and I don't follow through with it. And the Pookie one, I texted you, didn't I? I sent you a message.
You did.
As soon as it happened.
In capital letters.
And I was like, why do I say these things and not back it? But then with Bernardo Silva, I was just so like, you look at Manchester City and he's the one that always starts alongside Cancelo. He's missed one game week 1. Other than that, he started every game. And in all of those games, apart from 2, he's got 90 minutes. So I was looking at him thinking, of all of the City attacking players, he's probably the most safe in terms of rotation, as far as you can be safe with Manchester City. Not only that, he's getting good attacking returns. Against West Ham, he was playing as a midfielder, but then suddenly was a false 9. It's like, well, that's nice. If you're going to be up there, then that's ideal. So I thought, I had Foden and Pep's comments about this, he might get some minutes. I was like, nah, I'm not having this. Because even if he's fit and available, is he going to come back and is Pep going to suddenly start giving Foden 90 minutes?
Well, Fikri asked in the chat, should I hold Foden? Because this is the question now, right? When you've got it, if you've kept him now, I don't think you could really sell him.
It's hard though, isn't it? Because I mean, I don't know about you, but I could see Foden getting he's not got any minutes yet. So he's not going to, I don't think he'll start the weekend. I think he'll come on at 60 minutes or so, give him 30 minutes. Then yes, could he then start in game week 16? Yes. But could he come off on 60 minutes? Yes. So it's a balancing act. Will he come back in and automatically start scoring again? Will he be as good as he was before the injury? I don't know. I'm quite happy with Bernardo Silva. If I was going to bring in a Man City attacker, I'd go Silva.
Yeah, I don't think there's any contact. What you're looking for with Pep, especially around this period, is just some idea of who he really trusts and who he wants to play every week. And I think Foden's in that bracket, but he's going to manage him because he's done it before and he's injured and he has to, and he's pretty central if they're going to win the Champions League and all that kind of stuff, everything they do. De Bruyne's got COVID and his own kind of problems going on with injuries and stuff. Grealish fell out of favour a little bit, I think, even before the injury. He hasn't quite hit the heights of he hates Mahrez for whatever reason, never seems to get him. His comments on Bernardo Silva, 4 words.
About him so nicely, didn't he?
He is the best, he said about Bernardo Silva. I just can't see any way in which Bernardo Silva gets dropped at the moment, given the form that he's got. He can rotate in and out all of these other players, but Bernardo Silva is just going to carry on playing because he's in the form of his City career. Everyone thought he was going to get sold in the summer, and he didn't. He stepped up.
Polar opposite of Kane, isn't he?
Absolutely. It's another redemption. It's a bit less of redemption because Bernardo Silva's always been good, but FPL wise, he's never really been an option.
No.
But he definitely is now.
I agree. Totally agree.
I really like Bernardo Silva. I think looking at the midfield, obviously you've got Salah and Jota. I think they're just you need to get those in. I think Bernardo Silva is my next preferred midfielder. Out of everyone, I think he's a great pick. Really like him.
I'm very happy with him.
And I don't like any of the others at the moment. So, yeah, nice and easy one. We had another super chat, I think. Did we? I'm sure. Oh, we did. Stephen Gallagher. If James is available, then would you play Alonso and James against West Ham? I got Alonso midweek, but wondering, should I reverse it for Reguilon? Interesting. I wouldn't sell Alonso for Reguilon.
I don't think I would either, but I would like Reguilon in my team.
Mm.
So I'd like Reguilon more than I'd like Kane right now.
Oh, yeah.
It's tough. Would I play both of them against West Ham? It's tough because, like you said before when we were talking about them, you have to kind of see them not as defenders. And my immediate gut reaction is, do I think they'll keep a clean sheet against West Ham? Probably not. And therefore, do I really want to play the defensive double up? But both of them, Reece James and Alonso, equally likely to brace. So it's hard to drop either. It would be very hard to sell either of them.
I don't know why you'd buy Alonso if you weren't intending on playing him and James every week. Like if you're buying into that wing back, let's get both of them because they've got this explosive attacking returns.
Yeah,
you play him each week. Like I don't know why else you would do that. I mean, I don't particularly like the kind of the defensive double up.
No,
anyway,
nor do I really.
I like Alonso and James as attacking options, but if I was going to pick one of Alonso or Reguilon, I would pick Reguilon, like going forward. But I wouldn't sell Alonso for Reguilon. I don't think there's enough in it to justify that transfer. I mean, I'm the king of sideways transfers at the moment. I did Vardy out for Ronaldo, then Vardy got double digits. I did Ronaldo out for Kane, and now Ronaldo's got double digits. It basically means Kane's going to definitely hit double digits though against Norwich, so that's good for you as a Spurs fan. But I agree with you. If I could pick a Spurs player at the moment, I'd go for Reguilon.
I think I would. I would. I think he looks really good. We are so much better defensively. Like, even without Romero, we are still not great defensively without Romero, but we're better. Like Conte, whatever he's doing with the defenders, he's actually making a difference. And I don't think he's just shouting at them anymore. I think, there is some significant improvement in the way that they're playing. Even Ben Davis is actually playing well. And when you can sit here and say Ben Davis is playing well, then you know that the difference that Conte is making to the defence is actually working. He's coming in, he's shoring up the back. That he's also making some changes in the midfield and the way the midfield is playing because he really trusts Ollie Skip. His comments on Ollie Skip last night were ridiculous. But he's playing in that more holding role and he is giving Højbjerg almost more Denmark-style attacking potential. So he's another one, like super, super cheap. If you're changing the way your system's running, if you're wild carding, if you're looking to restructure, as an Ollie Skip owner, I would like to try and make him Højbjerg because now I happily can bench, but it's more attacking threat there.
Yeah.
But I'd really like Reguilon. If you told me to list the Spurs players I want now, I don't think Kane would even make the top three.
No. Well, I guess it would be Son, Reguilon.
I think I'd rather have Lucas Moura or Højbjerg ahead of Kane.
Wow. Oh, God. Why do I have Kane?
And what has my life become?
I know. You've got Kane, haven't you?
Yeah. Right. But I did get him cheaper, so he has earned me a little bit.
No, that's good. Yeah.
So at least there's that. And at least he can become Ronaldo if he blanks against Norwich.
Well,
if he blanks against Norwich, I will rage transfer him out.
Yeah. So just to go back to Stephen Gallagher quickly. So would you play Alonso and James against West Ham? I would.
Yeah, I think I would. I don't think you can... It depends on the rest of his team, doesn't it? But
yeah. Would you sell Alonso for Reguilon? I wouldn't. You might be more tempted.
I would be quite tempted to do that. Just because I don't like defensive double ups, because I just feel really uncomfortable with it, particularly over Christmas. I
just don't think...
I'd be tempted.
I just think Alonso and Reguilon are similarly good options going forward. And you take away West Ham, and then Alonso goes into Leeds, Everton, Wolves, Villa, Brighton. They're good fixtures for Chelsea.
They are, yeah.
He can perform in those. And Reguilon's fixtures are a bit more of a mixed bag. After Norwich, it's like Brighton, Liverpool, Leicester. No, they look a bit more ropey for defensive returns as well. I'd keep him. That's my.
Surely there's other transfers that you would.
Yeah, that's what I mean. If you've got nothing else to do and you've got 2 free transfers, then okay, maybe. But if not, then I'd keep it. Yeah, God, how's that for an answer? So roundabout.
But it's really hard. That
It
one's
is.
a really tough call.
Yeah. Well, he did pay $4.99 for the privilege of us rambling on for 5 minutes about it, so that's something. Jason Rampton, right now, would you double up on Chelsea or Man City defence? Can't afford Diaz. Is Laporte the next best now defender alongside Cancelo? Well, we've said a few times we're not. Neither of us are huge fans of the double up.
No, I wouldn't double up on either of them, but that's just me.
No.
Like, I know there's a lot of people out there that really like the double up of Chelsea and the double up of Manchester City, but for me, I'm just not. I'm not keen on it. I think there are so many decent options defensively at the moment that you could spread the wealth across 4 or 5 different clubs and it be, like, in terms of premium-ish, over 5 million, over 5.5 million. You could go for 5 different clubs and that would feel safer to me, feel better.
Yeah. I mean, the best 3 for me is still James, Trent and Cancelo. If you had a 4th into that, I still think it's Reguilon. And then if you're playing 5 at the back, then I think, then doubling up on maybe a City or a Chelsea with Rudiger or Diaz or someone is the way to go. I wouldn't take any of those 3 out for one. So I'm guessing you're going to be playing 4 at the back. So that means instead of Reguilon, you're either going with double Chelsea or double City. I think Alonso's completely fine as an option. Would I go for Laporte? No.
I'd go Alonso over Laporte.
Yeah, I think with the defenders at the moment, you need those attacking returns because they're too good. They're too good offensively, these defenders, to not try and tap into that. So going for someone like Laporte, I think Rudiger is kind of the only one who just pushes it because he is attacking. He's getting chances from set plays and things like that.
Adventures he goes on.
Yeah, exactly. But you wouldn't go for like Christensen or Thiago Silva or any of these other players because they just don't have that attacking intent. So I think it's Alonso, Reguilon, potentially Rudiger, and that rules out all the City players because the City defenders, other than Cancelo, because they don't have the attacking.
I agree.
Yeah. Yep.
But that doesn't happen very often, does it?
No. How do you do? Are you only responding to super chats? I don't mean to be rude, just wanted to know. I've responded to you and you didn't super chat, so that kind of tells you answer. Not really. We prioritise super chats and we're getting quite a lot coming in. If there's less super chats, then I'll just pick some random comments from the chat. But obviously, if you pay a bit of money to us, then we'll prioritise you. That's just capitalism, isn't it? In a nutshell. Luke C. Sell Conor Gallagher. It is funny, these bandwagons, isn't it, with someone like him? I mean, a couple of weeks ago, he's getting 10 plus points every week, and it's like, everyone's got to have Conor Gallagher. And then a couple of performances where he plays a bit. I mean, he was so deep in their last game. I don't know if you saw his
McCarthy
average
injury's
position.
a worry.
Yeah.
It's a worry for Conor Gallagher owners. It is.
And it's a similar problem with Conor Gallagher to someone like Saka. Because they're such versatile, clever, intelligent players, they can play right up at front, and be creating and scoring goals and looking like, absolutely incredible options. But because they're so versatile, when they get injuries or when the systems change, they then drop back into midfield or into defence, and then they're complete non-entities. I wouldn't sell him. I still think he's a good pick. If you've got nothing else to do, maybe. I still like Conor Gallagher. I think for $6 million, he's going to carry on delivering good value. But I think I wouldn't be kind of, prioritising bringing him in. I still like Zaha. I'd still pick Zaha. I think out of Palace if I had to pick a Palace option.
Too expensive for me, Zaha. I think the thing is with Gallagher, and I wouldn't do anything ahead of this week because I'd want to see whether the McCarthy injury means that he is going to continue to play that deep. Because if he is over a course of a hamstring injury, then that isn't ideal from an FPL perspective, and you could just make the move to Smith Rowe, or there are other players in that sort of price bracket that you could go to. So I would give Gallagher game week 15, see where his position match suggests he is, and if he's still very deep, then maybe look to sell him ahead of 16.
Yeah, good advice. Right, let's grab another question. See, now the super chats are out. Now my job gets harder because now I've got to actually find these ones. Let's talk about Ronaldo then. Netballers says Ronaldo captain. I saw some other questions about Ronaldo going forward. Is he kind of essential after the 2 games? Oh, that's it. Is Ronaldo a must-have? Who wrote that? I just saw it. James A says, is Ronaldo a must-have? Yeah, what do you think? I mean, I did an article for Scout yesterday talking about my transfer plans. Ronaldo wasn't in it because I was planning on keeping Kane. I was expecting to see a good performance from yesterday. Didn't really see it. I was looking at Sancho, I think under Ralph, thinking he could become a good factor. But I watched that game yesterday, And yeah, Ronaldo's gone right back up to my top of my wish list. I look at the fixtures United have got and I think, can we really go without Ronaldo for that run?
I mean, I think you can for Crystal Palace. I think the game against Crystal Palace, you can go without, particularly when Kane's got Norwich, because the reality is they're quite evenly matched in those games. We haven't seen consistency from Ronaldo either. I know he got a couple of goals last night, but one of them was just Ødegaard just like assaulting.
Oh, that was terrible. How the ref didn't give that as a penalty straight away.
It's awful. So, so take away the penalty, and obviously we still don't know for definite that Ronaldo is on penalties all the time. We kind of assume he is because obviously Fernandes missed that awful one and then he's taken the next one, but we don't know that for sure yet. So I don't know. I'm not doing anything this week. I'm going to watch Ronaldo carefully against Crystal Palace, and I'm obviously going to watch Kane very carefully against Norwich. And it's an easy swap to go Kane to Ronaldo. If Ronaldo bangs and Kane doesn't, then that's what I'll do because the fixtures are lovely. But if Ronaldo doesn't go mental against Crystal Palace, I still am keeping a really close eye on the likes of Rashford and Sancho because I actually think they're the type of players that could really do incredibly well. They're fast-paced, they're pressing players. They're everything that you would think would be well suited to the way that the new manager is going to play Manchester United's game. So this Crystal Palace game at the weekend, his first game in charge, I think that for me is going to be quite telling in terms of who I invest in, because it's not if I invest, I'm going to. The fixture one is too nice. It's just who.
It's just the difference between Kane and Ronaldo is you look at Ronaldo's first goal and that poacher's instinct he's got, that ability to just go and finish, and that is that position he takes up could not be closer to the goal. And then you watch Kane ambling around the centre circle and you just think, why am I paying the same money for this guy who is happier to drop deep and and dictate play even when everyone's going crazy about the fact he's got no goals and no assists. You'd think he'd be like busting a gut to get into the penalty box and score goals. It also struck me yesterday watching that game. We come back to Kane again, but I think we kind of need to. I think his teammates are getting the ball to him less. There was a few times in that match yesterday when Kane was free on the left or was in good space and they went a different route, and they wouldn't have done that last year. Thoughts?
No, but I don't disagree. It's hard, isn't it? Because Conte obviously wants to play Kane in a slightly different way to how he played last season. Wants him to be in the box more, and he sometimes does hang about near the box. And then I think he just has that moment of like you said before about how he's quite a selfish player. He wants to be involved, and so if he's not getting involved, you'll find him just drift to wherever the ball is, and then you'll find him like when he put the ball in for Reguilon, like way in his own half. Beautiful. I mean, it was a lovely ball to Reguilon and then a lovely ball to Son for the goal. But that's not really where you want Harry Kane. It's not where I want Harry Kane as a Spurs player and it's as a Spurs fan, and it's not where I want Harry Kane as a Harry Kane owner in FPL. I want him in an advanced position because that's where he's going to get me FPL points. So let's see what happens. I do think Spurs are improving. And that improvement will mean surely that Kane starts returning. And I still don't think you can sell Kane against Norwich. If you do, then you're kind of asking to be punished.
Yeah. I mean, then it's Ronaldo against Norwich. It's going to be a hard keep for Kane away at Brighton.
Yeah, I think it could be an easy swap.
Yeah, I think so.
Because Brighton are good defensively.
Yeah, I can get Ronaldo and Sancho from Norwich.
Yeah.
Go for the double attack.
Good thing for me is being a Spurs fan, as I said on the FPL show last night, was that if Kane blanks and we've won, I feel all right about it. If I sell Kane and he bangs and we win, I'll still feel all right about it because as a Spurs fan, that's just, so there's that element that plays out. But yeah. I think I can only see Kane getting one more game in my team. I could see me going to Son instead, or more likely even to Reguilon instead.
Yeah. I take it you won't be captaining Kane against Norwich.
No, but I probably will wear my vice captain's armband.
Oh, wow. But so much faith, Sam.
Well, only just because if Salah normally misses game week 14 and he didn't this week. In seasons gone by, he's always got a rest in game week 14. Didn't get one this time. Just in case. I do think over Christmas, you do actually have to think about your vice captain a little bit more than I normally do because it's crazy season.
Anane Gupta, can you suggest a Zaha replacement? I don't mind Zaha. I know you said he's a bit too expensive. I think the main problem with Zaha is that Bernardo Silva's like 0.3 more and a significantly better option than Zaha. So straight swap. If I could do Zaha to Bernardo Silva, I'd do it. If I didn't have the money though, and I was looking around the 7 million under mark, there's not really anyone that massively stands out to me. Rafinha looks good, but after next week, Chelsea, City, Arsenal, Liverpool, it's an absolute horror run for Leeds. Whereas Zaha's got Everton, Southampton, Watford. I'd keep him. You get rid? Not a fan? Who for?
Anyone.
Wow. Bowen
Mount,
potentially 6'4".
If you've got more money, then Bernardo or Mason Mount to me look like good options. If you've got that extra little bit of cash in the bank, if you haven't, then I mean there are other players with nice fixtures that you could go to.
We haven't even mentioned my favourite ever player on this stream yet. In the form of his life. Who's that, Sam? Come on. Who's my favourite ever player?
Neil Maupay?
No. What a goal. What a goal from
What's a goal?
Always said, class player, consistent, get him in your team. Don't, he's awful. Yes, James A. Madison, of course. James Madison. 6.7 now. 2 double-digit hauls in a row. Not just that, 87 minutes, then 90 minutes. 6.5% owned. Villa, Newcastle next. I love him. Oh, come on. Shaking your head. How can you shake your head at James Madison in this kind of form?
It's not that I don't like James Madison, but James Madison is the epitome of a purple patch player, isn't he? Like he'll perform really well for a little while. Well, maybe this is the patch done. It's been this week. Like, I don't know. I actually think that they'll struggle against Aston Villa. I really do. I think Leicester will have a hard time against Villa. They're getting a lot better defensively. They are performing well. Could Madison get a return? Yes. Do I see him getting loads of returns? No. Like, they've got Martinez in goal. He's a quality keeper. I just don't see.
Does he need? He doesn't need to get loads of returns though at 6'7". He needs to get you a goal or an assist. Can he get a goal and assist against Villa? Yeah.
Yes, but also could he get rotated over the Christmas period when they could play Daka or they could play Iheanacho and they could change the system up? Yes. And I don't think you want to be investing in somebody that's not 90 minutes every game over the Christmas period.
I'm very surprised that he got 90 minutes again after the 87 because I agree with you. His minutes have been incredibly sporadic. 45 against Chelsea, 10 minutes against Leeds, 69 against Arsenal, 77 against Brentford. He's been managed because they've got different systems, and I think Rodgers is trying to work out exactly what system he likes best. And at the moment they're kind of scoring lots of goals and doing okay, but it still feels like he doesn't really know how to get the most out of all these players. Barnes, Iheanacho, Daka, Vardy. Tielemans is going to be coming back soon. It's a tricky one, but at the moment Madison is kind of at central to everything. I mean, 2 assists against Watford. The goal he scored against Southampton was not a normal type of Madison goal. It was a kind of closer to the goal than he's playing closer to the goal than he normally does. That's the thing I've noticed about him over the last couple of weeks. So it's clearly a change in system to kind of try and unlock him. And yeah, I love him. I wasn't expecting him to get 90. I thought he might get 60 or 70 or something. If he starts again at the weekend, and it gets 3 kind of 70, 80 plus minutes in a row, he's clearly back to this kind of full fitness, and I think he could be an option again.
Okay.
Not a fan?
I mean, I am a fan of him as a player. I think he's quality. Every time I watch him, I like him. But as an FPL asset, I'm yet to be convinced that he offers what you would want.
Well, you're right. I know you're right, but I love him so much. He is, honestly, I keep saying it, I think he's one of the most talented players in the Premier League, like in terms of ability, in terms of passing range. You have a man
crush on Madison.
I've always had a man crush on Madison. I think he's fantastic. But you're right. I mean, last year, 8 goals, 7 assists. Year before that, 6 goals, 5 assists. Year before that, 7 goals, 7 assists. To me, this is a player who should be getting 180, 190 points every season. His best season is 137. I know he doesn't. And I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you that he doesn't hit those levels. I just want to see it. I want to see it.
I don't think you will, though, that's my problem. Is that, and he's also playing for a Leicester team that has got a lot of talented players going forward. So the ability for Rodgers to change the system depending on the opposition that he's facing, or just change the system if it's not working, means we can easily see Madison come off at half-time, go on at half-time. It's Christmas. It's crazy season. I don't want any more crazy in my team. Like I want to be calm as much as we can. I want to be calm and have informed players that like Bernardo Silva, who, all right, he may occasionally miss one, but it's going to be an occasional miss. And he's playing in a Man City team that have got really good form and they've got really good fixtures. And then I look at Leicester, who aren't in very good form, who have a mixed bag of fixtures and who have a million different strategies and formations that they could play. And Madison isn't always part of all of those formations. That's all I'm saying.
So what you're saying...
He's good, but I'm not investing.
So what you're saying is that I should buy Madison. That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
Go for it.
It's literally like, it's like a meme. Like I'm hearing all these things coming in, and just in here it's like Madison, buy him. Madison.
Sam talking about Madison. Well, I look at your team tomorrow after the deadline. It's going to have James Madison in it.
I think so. Yeah, you've sold me on him. You know, it's really good chat about Madison. Sam, appreciate it. A few people saying smash a like on the video. Yes, please. Yeah, if you've enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to the channel as well. Sam and I do these before every game week, and we've made them more interactive as well. So hopefully you're enjoying us chat, talking through people's
fun, don't we?
in the chat. We do have fun. These are fun, a nice fun stream. We've done 46 minutes, so I think we'll probably stop it there.
I can't believe we're going to end on Madison.
Of course, we're going to end on Madison. That's the only player that we can add on. And every time he scores and he's not in my team, it's like a knife.
You're
going to
message me, aren't you?
Yeah,
I'm going to get WhatsApped all over the weekend. Just Madison.
Well, if you can talk about Pookie for 10 minutes, I can talk about Madison for hours.
To be fair, I've not talked about Pookie this week.
You haven't? No, you don't need to. He speaks for himself sometimes, doesn't he?
When he scores against Spurs, I will not be happy.
He's definitely scoring against Spurs.
Oh, he's 100% scoring against Spurs.
Absolutely. Right, Sam, thank you so much for joining me. We will be back. It's back to normal next week, isn't it? I think is it a Friday deadline next week?
Oh, don't know. Let me have a look.
Let's have a look. I think it is. It is. Yeah, Brentford v Watford next week.
Friday stream then. Maybe go a bit later next week.
Yeah, so we'll go a bit earlier. Anija Galtman says, Az and Sam are the best. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, thanks.
Not sure that's true for me, but Sam is the best. So she can.
I'm definitely not. It's praise, but I'm going to take it. I'm going to believe it's true. Let's take it as.
Well, actually, you were the best until you slayed James Madison, and now I doubt your, class. Class integrity.
That dinner invitation was retracted.
Oh yeah, my roast dinner.
Doubt my integrity.
Doubt your integrity. Right. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will see you all next week.
Bye, guys.